Good afternoon. Can everyone hear me? This is Kelly Gaskell. I want to welcome all of our participants to today's Sustainability Speaker Series. Um, I wanted to review a few administrative notes and then I'll introduce our guests for this afternoon. So what we would like to do is our guest speaker would like to present his presentation on Clean the World. He estimates it'll take about 20 to 30 minutes, and then following his presentation, Rob would like to do a Q&A session. So as many of you probably remember from our previous speaker series, we have everyone on mute initially during the presentation. And then when it's Q&A, if you'll raise your hand like I'm doing now, Rob will be able to see that you have a question. So when he calls on your name, you can go ahead and ask your question, please, and then go ahead and please mute yourself again. I think that'll work perfectly. And then also feel free to comment in our chat section under conversations. So you can also do that, and I will follow those notes as well. So without any further ado, I will welcome Dr. George Philippidis, who is our Associate Dean for Research at Patel College. And he would like to say a few words and introduce our distinguished speaker. Dr. Philippidis?
Thank you, Kelly. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Welcome, everybody, to this week's presentation. We are very pleased to have Rob Keefe with us. Rob is a football coach, and he has recently joined the Clean the World team as the manager of products and business development. And in that role, Rob develops innovative new programs to support the organization's global mission. Clean the World is actually a social enterprise that is spearheading an effort to recycle hygiene products. They are working with over 4,000 hotels and resorts to operate recycling centers in North America, Europe, and Asia. And in addition to the recycling, they are also providing hygiene education and micro-lending in developing countries. So with that, I would like to welcome Rob and turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you, George. Thank you, Kelly. Hi, everyone. Really excited, even though I'm kind of seeing all kind of initials here. I'm sure I'll put the faces when we start asking questions, but very excited to do this. This is kind of my forte. I really share or enjoy sharing the mission of Clean the World. And before I share my screen, as George just said, I do coach football. And at the same time, I work for Clean the World. I played professional football for a very long time. Played for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, close to USF. I played in the Canadian Football League, and I played in the Arena Football League. And then I started coaching, and I'm actually currently the head coach of the Albany Empire, which is the Arena Football League team. Probably for those in the Tampa area, the same thing as the Tampa Storm, the Tampa Bay Storm. The play right where the Lightning play. I've played in that arena many, many times, the Amalie Arena. But how this started for me, I'm about to share with you, my family, between the ages, when I was the age of 6 to 8, we were technically homeless. And homeless in America will be defined as a family that does not have a fixed permanent place of residence. So even though we were, quote unquote, not living on the street, we were with an aunt or an uncle, or we stayed sometimes in a hotel, or we had to stay at grandma's house. And sometimes when you have these situations where mom and dad lose their job, you tend as a family to give up on certain things that you can't afford because you have to afford big things. So to get the paycheck, to turn the lights on, to get the apartment, sometimes you forego basic hygiene needs. And that's why this is so important. Among other things, we're going to talk internationally, but we're also going to talk domestically about how a family like myself benefited from services like Clean the World. And that's how I got established when I moved to Orlando, and I really got to know the CEO very, very well. I really wanted to be a part of Clean the World. So this is what I do for my life. It's football, it's nonprofit, it's giving back, and I'm really excited to share with you today. So let me share my screen. I want to make sure everybody can see it. And George, can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, then everyone can see it. Okay, and here we are. So again, we'll get to the questions. I have about 52 slides, and I'll make sure that I'll keep it into about 25 to 30 minutes. I tend to be very, very long-winded, but that's a good thing because I want to share as much information as possible. So at the end of the day, what is Clean the World? What is our mission? Our mission is to collect and recycle soap and bottled amenities that are discarded by the hospitality industry. Through the distribution of these and other donated hygiene products to impoverished people, we help prevent millions of hygiene-related illnesses and deaths every year. We're going to talk about how we started this. We're going to talk about our partners and all the programs and the services that we provide, again, not just locally, but internationally. And so there's really awesome pictures, and we're going to talk as well what a bar of soap means. Sometimes in America, we take for granted what a bar of soap means to an impoverished person in developing countries. Literally, this bar of soap is life-changing. It is life-altering. It really it means the world, literally. So it all started with an idea, and here's the idea. We had our CEO was a sales representative for a major company in Orlando, and two of his biggest clients were Target and Best Buy, and those are both located, their headquarters are located in Minnesota, Minneapolis. He found himself in a hotel room late one night in Minneapolis, and he just really wanted to know what happens to all the hotel bars of soap that are discarded by the customers of these hotels. What do these hotels do with them? He called down to the front desk, and the front desk attendant said, literally, we just throw the bars of soap away. So after somebody stays in a hotel, the bars of soap are just completely thrown away. So that's kind of what started this process of him trying to figure out, well, how many bars of soap actually would be thrown away daily? And this is, if you can see, if there's 4.6 million hotel rooms in America, there's about 63,000 hotels in America. Well, that means every single day, there's 2 million bars of soap that are discarded. Then it becomes, in the nonprofit world, we don't say the aha moment, but kind of this moment of obligation kind of starts to take place. What could we do as a company, as a person, as a hotel? What can you do with these bars of soap? If there's 2 million bars of soap that are thrown away every single day, who could benefit from these? That's when he started crunching some numbers. At that time, 9,000 children, this is about 12 years ago, 9,000 children were dying every single day from pneumonia and diarrheal disease. Those are the two leading causes of death of children under the ages of 5. Those two causes of death are literally killing 9,000 children every single day just by introducing a bar of soap to children that have these diseases or impoverished communities that could possibly be affected by these causes of death. It can simply and hopefully eradicate pneumonia and diarrheal disease. And that's kind of where this moment of obligation came from. People are throwing 2 million bars of soap away every single day in hotels, and at the same time, there's 9,000 children that are dying every single day. So then comes the question, how do you get all of these bars of soap, how do you get it to children that are in need? And this is where Sean, our CEO, who to your screen will be to the right, who is kind of, he's looking like he's looking into this soap bin. That's his family members right there. That's actually his garage. 12 years ago, what he did was he literally left his job, and he again had this moment of obligation where he said, we're going to learn how to recycle soap, and we're going to learn how we get it into kids and children in impoverished communities all across the world so we can help eradicate these diseases. And that's, I tell you what, when I look at this picture, and I love speaking to students and to people, again, who have giant hearts, it does take some courage to leave your job and to say, hey, you know, I was a successful salesperson, but I feel like this is my calling. And what an awesome situation. But that is actually his garage. And if you can see, there's soap that are drying on the soap racks. There's fans that are in the back there. What they're doing is they have potato peelers. The gentleman in the middle there has a potato peeler. They're learning how to scrape used soap into taking the bad soap, if you will, off of it to then create new soap again. There's actually easy bake ovens. To the back left there, you kind of see a grinder. They're learning how to kind of grind the soap and make new soap. This is all the early stages of Clean the World, but I always say this, especially to young kids, it does take an idea, and you can work really, really hard at it, and eventually I'm going to show you where we are now as a company. This is where it really got big for us. The first major distribution was actually in Haiti. This is an actual picture. Those boxes that you see in front of those children there is an actual picture of when the Haiti, if you remember in 2008, there was a terrible earthquake that happened in Haiti. And so what our CEO did, he got some people that he knew, and they chartered a flight down to Haiti. And they recognized, hey, we have 2,000 bars of soap. We're going to now just distribute this to people who are in need in Haiti, and we're going to see if this is actually a thing. Do we actually have a product here where we can actually help people in impoverished in situations that any kind of earthquake, fire, hurricane, flood, whatever you might need it, hygiene products are a necessity, especially to keep illnesses down, withstanding water, people that are obviously displaced. Hygiene, much like food, cannot go to the wayside there. Literally, this is everyone who showed up when they found out that Clean the World was coming to distribute this soap. What Clean the World does is we actually partner with people all across the world, and you'll see those people that we partner with to actually create situations like this, what we call boots on the ground, whether it be pastors, whether it be local people religious in the religious community, teachers, to put us in front of people like this so we can distribute. But this is actually the first distribution mission. Those boxes literally were gone in 5 minutes. 2,000 bars of soap went in 5 minutes after this earthquake, and that's when our CEO realized that this is something, we're on to something here. We have to create this business because people are in need. So just an amazing story, and again, captures my heart every time I get to talk about it. So then it goes to this. What is the purpose of soap, right? The need for wash. And when you hear this term wash, water, sanitation, and hygiene, well, soap, as we know, and COVID-19 is so prevalent, the coronavirus, people, hopefully they knew before, but a lot of people don't realize just soap reduces the spread of germs and diseases by 50% by simply washing your hands. So when a bar of soap is not introduced to these communities, and it's really interesting because when you do introduce a bar of soap to some communities that have never had a bar of soap, they don't know what to do with it. They literally have to learn how to wash their hands. So it's really amazing some of the things that we take for granted here in developing countries that non-developed countries actually have. So again, just some facts and figures. This is what we've done since I just showed you that those members in that garage. We have distributed 56 million bars of soap to 127 different countries. In the bottom left there, you see hygiene kits. I'm going to tell you what is actually in a hygiene kit. My family benefited from these hygiene kits when I was a child, but 5 million hygiene kits have been distributed. But also, too, it's not just about the distribution. We talk about the hotel that's where we get all these bars of soap from. The hotels now, by donating to Clean the World, by partnering with us, well, instead of throwing those bars of soap away, well, now these bars of soap are being recycled. So we actually are diverting, in the top right corner there, we've diverted 20 million pounds of waste that normally would have gone into, wherever, landfills all across the country are now coming to us so we can make that soap. So on a number of factors, we're helping the environment and also helping communities all across the world. And then if you see the big one, I told you that 9,000 number, we've reduced hygiene-related deaths under the age of 5 by 60%. Since Clean the World has started 12 years ago, 60%, 9,000 kids a day have been reduced by 60%. It's just an amazing figure that we have there. And then again, we talk about Central Florida. That's where I am personally right now. I'm in Orlando. Our global headquarters are based out of Orlando, and the impact that we've had since 2009 is just tremendous. We've served over 2 million people in the Orlando area. Again, 15 million people globally, but that is just in the Central Florida area where, again, many hotels are. Those are some key numbers that we love to share. So really just being as impactful as we possibly can. Well, so it says 3.5 million soap and hygiene kits distributed in Central Florida. But it also too, if you kind of look at this cool graphic, we are boots on the ground when it comes to disaster relief efforts, whether it be the hurricanes in Puerto Rico, or whether it be flooding in Houston, hurricanes right now that are going on in Louisiana, earthquakes, fires, anything you can possibly think about. I'm going to share with you who we partner with, because we get phone calls from all over the world about the distribution of soap, and obviously the needs when you have ravished, impoverished places, and even developed countries like America. When there is an earthquake or a hurricane, when people are displaced, hygiene is a main factor to stay safe, to not get sick, for dignity. And we're going to talk a lot about that word dignity as well. This is something we just started. Another program that we have. We just launched this recently as August 31st, as you can see there. It's called the Fresh Start Wash and Wellness. It's actually a mobile hygiene shower. It's a mobile hygiene unit that has 8 showers in it. This is something that we actually have in Las Vegas, and we also have this in Orlando. And what we do is we partner with other local charities and local community shelters, and we actually drive this around. And so from Sunday to Sunday, we actually have specific spots that we'll stop. And and people that would need a shower or need some hygiene kits and need a fresh start to their day, they can come and they can take part in a private shower that gets them kind of back on, and again gives them that dignity. And I'll tell you this too, for anyone who's ever volunteered, sometimes it's not. I think people think homeless means again that you're on the street, and mind you, people that are on the street that don't have a roof over their head for a particular night, they need this just as much as anyone does. But a lot of times, and this is where I learned as a child, that mom and dad can still have a job. People can be saving money. People can just have their lights or their water shut off in their apartment or their house. And there's services like this that keep you going. Again, going to work with your hair combed, smelling fresh, looking sharp, to again get that paycheck, to make sure that all the lights are turned off and you're providing for your family. It's so imperative that these things exist, and we're very excited that we have programs that like this that are part of Clean the World. And again, we have people that sponsor this, and companies help us donate to us so we can provide these services to people in our local community. And again, this is a big one. We're actually we're the 23rd NGO added to the UN Global Wash Cluster. So the head of our foundation actually has a seat on this NGO wash cluster for the UN. So when UN makes decisions, simply put, when it comes to wash, right, the water and the sanitation and hygiene, Clean the World has a vote. Clean the World has a voice. We get to speak on obviously the science and the education and the impact behind soap. And I always say this, and I know it's not lost upon you, but it started in the garage. It started with an idea in a hotel room in a garage. It's just so amazing to me when I get to share this, that here we are having a voice, in the UN when it comes to helping people all across the world when it comes to these particular things. And again, there's your 60% reduction. Great pictures that we get to use when we get to go out there in communities all across the world to have this impact reporting. And here we go. This is a little bit about our funding. So for those who don't know, we're actually what is called a B Corp. So a B corporation, we're actually the first B Corp that was certified and incorporated in the state of Florida. So popular B Corps that you might have heard of, Ben & Jerry's, Patagonia, those are the ones that I always give examples of. What first happened is our CEO tells a great story about literally 80% of nonprofits will fold in the first 2 years because it's very hard to get funding. So people, as a nonprofit, you ask for money. You're relying on donations. Well, what happens if you have a great idea and donations don't come in? What do you do then? How do you keep your business afloat? So when you think about our business, recycling soap and then distributing soap all across the world, it costs a lot of money to send 10,000 bars of soap to an impoverished country day after day. So how do we fund this? A big portion of our funding is, again, you have what is called a beneficiary side and you have a nonprofit side. Our for-profit side creates income that we can then donate ourselves to our foundation. So our mission is about saving these children's lives, about getting soap out there, about making sure that people impoverished in communities and areas all across the world are healthy with the sanitation and the hygiene that we're providing. But we're getting that money from hotels, from corporations, from events. So if you see in the top left, the hotels actually pay us. We actually sell hotels for a profit to then donate their soap to us for a particular amount of money that we can then use to keep the lights on, to pay our employees, to ship this soap all across the world. So that's a really cool slide. So obviously you guys have this and you're recording this, but I suggest you look at this, and that's what a B Corp is. It's a really intricate process, but we do have money coming in from salespeople in our business. And our business it's sales, it's human resources, it's marketing, it's logistics, it's accounting. We have a number of services, and I think a lot of people think a nonprofit is somebody who just collects money. That's not the case. And we'll talk about what our nonprofit side does. Our foundation collects that impact, collects that reporting to give back to the hotels, because the hotels then say, we want to engage with Clean the World because Clean the World's doing such impactful work. But because we've partnered with Clean the World, now people will want to come to our hotel. And that's exactly what it is. Hilton, right now, every single Hilton in America actually partners with Clean the World. And what Hilton is saying to their customers, this is where our soap is going. And then they're realizing more people are coming to Hilton hotels because of what Clean the World and the partnership is doing for them. So it really works hand in hand. And again, a lot of reporting, a lot of stats and figures to then give these hotels and these corporations that work with us these numbers to help their business grow as well. So really cool stuff. This is something cool that we can talk about. In our company, we have about 80 employees, and we actually go to what is called an AOS versus command control structure. So AOS stands for Adaptive Operating System, which is really neat. And it just talks about the comprehensive overall infrastructure from an individual, socially, and organizationally of how we operate. It's a very open system. So much like Google or some of these cool companies, when you come in to Clean the World in Orlando, we're all interacting with each other. It's not just somebody off in a cubicle. We really wanted to change kind of the world of this B Corp. Again, the biggest thing that I'll say about this, maybe you'll probably ask some questions. We're not just a nonprofit. We literally have business structure and business acumen into our model so we can be as impactful as we possibly can. The more money that we're able to create, the more impactful we can be. And we learned that in his first 2 years. Nobody was donating to Clean the World, and we had to learn how to sell what Clean the World actually is to these hotels. So really cool stuff. And again, why AOS? Just empowerment, shared work ideas and levels, but really cool stuff. Identification of leaders, that's a big one. We have a lot of people that have kind of rose to the top with this structure. It's really neat. But here's something that's really awesome. So this is who we are. This is where we are. So this is our global recycling operations. Again, going back to a garage in the middle of Central Florida, all these stars are where Clean the World operates. So our main headquarters is in Orlando, Florida. That's our recycling operation. We recycle there. We also recycle in Montreal. We recycle in Las Vegas as well. We recycle in Amsterdam. We recycle in Hong Kong. We also recycle in mainland China. All these other places are collection centers, or they are converting waste to energy. For instance, we don't just collect soap. We collect bottled amenities. So the shampoo, the conditioner, the lotion, we're basically changing the way that these things are being thrown away, where we're being delivered these things, where we're repurposing these, and we're creating this waste into energy with these plastics. So really, really cool stuff. Operational partners all across the world are big for us. And if you see the bottom left, Guest Supply, UPS, some of these big companies, we really need to rely on these logistic companies because, again, moving soap and recycling soap and all these incoming, tons of soap to our warehouses all across the world, we really need to rely heavily on these partnerships from these companies. Okay, so here we go. So soap and plastic recycling. So how do we go about this? How does this process really work? And we always say trash to treasure, right? And this is it. This is kind of what a warehouse looks like. Not the most glamorous thing in the world, but when you see these huge, just cardboard boxes there, it is filled with soap. It is filled with lotion. It's filled with shampoo. It's filled with conditioner. A multiple number of things that those things are donated to us. If you see to the right, the bottom right, you have a green bin and you have a blue bin. What the hotels are given by Clean the World are these green and blue bins. What housekeepers and what we call house attendants, what they do for us in every single hotel that we partner with all around the world and the country, is they actually go into these hotel rooms when they clean them, and then when they get down to the basement, they actually will discard the soap and the bottled amenities into the proper bin. When those bins, the green bins, which are for the soap, and the blue bins are all for the bottles, then they'll place a phone call or an email to Clean the World. We actually have an app on their phone that actually helps us. So for the manager at these hotels, we'll contact Clean the World and they'll say a pickup is ready. Well, we'll have a UPS provider. We'll then go pick up these green and blue bins full of bottles and soap, and we'll actually send them green and blue bins as well. So there's no issue with the transfer. That they can have those green and blue bins right there as we then take the full green and blue bins off the property, so then we can recycle that. So a really cool logistical program that we have. And then again, here's your soap. That's all crushed up soap from hotels. And here you go. That's my buddy Carlos right there. He works really hard here in Orlando, but you can kind of see the process. This is what it looks like. It might not be the most glamorous thing, but that's soap. And we have people that literally will sit there and they will crush and they will grind soap, and it'll eventually go into that vat behind them. And eventually what that bar will do, or those soaps will do, it'll come out into little pellets. It'll go up into a kind of a conveyor belt style after it's crushed and it's processed and it's washed and it's clean. And then it's added certain chemicals to make sure that it's recycled again. We wanted to make sure we got that process. In Cisco, if you heard of Cisco and Guest Supply, they helped us perfect this scientific approach to make a used bar clean again. And then it's grounded up. And if you can see there closely, it says Clean the World right there, and it has our little logo on it. It's actually a little child in kind of a circle of bubbles there. That's actually what's stamped on the new bars of soap. And here you go. Those bars of soap all of a sudden churn out. So again, a 12-year company that started in a garage churning these bars of soap. And we had to learn how to make this machine. We had to learn how to create this. And that's somebody right there, a volunteer probably, that's taking these bars, these new fresh bars that are stamped with Clean the World, in putting them into boxes that could be shipped all across the world, and there you go. We have boxes of 100. We make sure that these boxes are specifically formatted, so we can keep count, we can keep track, we can weigh these processes. Obviously, when you ship logistically, you have to know the weight, because obviously things cost money, but everything is very organized. It's to a process, so really cool stuff. And then again, so there you can see kind of what things look like. Orlando, Las Vegas, Montreal, those are the places that we recycle the soap. And then here's another recycling operational center in Europe. It's an innovation hub, which you'll see there, and we have these in all our locations. We actually have volunteers that come to Clean the World as well. And so when you look at those tables are filled with bottles and soap. And so what people will do to volunteer at Clean the World, they'll come and they'll help us sort the soap out. And if you can see that PVC pipe will say shampoo or conditioner or lotion or body wash or whatever it might be, and then you'll put the correct bottle in that PVC piping, which will then go down to a recycle bin, so we can sort these things out easier. But that's actually our recycling center in Amsterdam, which is pretty neat. But that's how they all kind of are configured and are structured, which is really cool. But Amsterdam's on this kind of cutting edge of technology when it comes to not only recycling, but if you can see kind of solar panel, it's really neat. And we're learning so much from our Amsterdam partners as well as how we can be even more sustainable and obviously globally aware. Here's our Hong Kong facility, much like the same thing, really cool stuff. Operational center in mainland China. It's really neat. And if you can see that the banner there, Mr. Terry Riddle, he's a great friend of mine. He works for Clean the World. He's our head of our global our partnerships. But speaks Chinese fluently. It's just amazing what he's done and the interactions and the partnerships that we have all across the world. So really cool stuff. Again, plastic recycling. This is where we get into what happens to the plastic. How do we make sure that this is not a wasteful product, so we can turn it into flakes. We can use it for filament. We can use it for fire starters. There's a number of things that new plastic and recycled plastic can be turned into. So instead of just throwing this plastic away, shampoo, conditioner, lotion, those particular things, we want to make sure that we're finding creative ways to recycle this with our hotel partners, that not only are we diverting this waste from landfill, but we're also creating these new products. It's really neat. And here's our business model. So when you look at this is where it comes from hotels. This is the projections, that we have as far as how many rooms we have around the world. It's just amazing from where we started to exactly how many bars of soap that we have recycled, how many hotels we now have on board, how many rooms we actually now have on board. It's just a growing model, and really the reason why it's a growing model is because companies, specifically hotels, motels, Airbnbs, bed and breakfast, whatever it might be, they're recognizing that people are choosing to spend their dollars with companies that are doing global sustainability projects that are helping the world obviously be a much better place. And so people are really aware of where their dollars are going. So in this day and age, why would you want to spend your money on a hotel that is not helping? They're not corporate responsible. We want to make sure that our dollars are going to a corporate responsible program, and that's where these hotels that partner with us really put Clean the World on a platform and really do a great job of marketing us, so then people can then obviously engage with them, and they're seeing their dollars being driven up. So it really works hand in hand. These are all the hotels. I say all of them, but these are the majority of obviously the main ones. So the 8,000 properties around the world that we partner with, every Holiday Inn, obviously, a great way to look at it, if you went to Las Vegas right now, every single hotel on the Las Vegas Strip partners with Clean the World. That's how impactful we've become, and that's how great our partners have been. So Best Western, Sheratons, when you'll go into a room in the Hyatt, you'll see in the Radisson, you'll see actually on your in your shower, or perhaps in your bathroom, you'll see a little Clean the World stand that has some marketing material that talks about where your bar of soap is going. So again, very, very strong partners we have. And this is actually what is called a brand standard. So these are the ones, Homewood Suites by Hilton. It's much, a franchise business, which is really neat. And you have to learn about this business where it's not just individual hotels. Well, somebody might own every single Homewood suite. So you have to talk to these individuals. But if you also see in the bottom right, Walt Disney World Resorts partner with us. That's a big one. Those are really big. And so I said before, there's 63,000 hotels in America. We only partner with 8,000 hotels globally. So we have a long way to go. So this is a business that has a definite upside. We just have to teach people why this is so important and this is so valuable. Again, this is how we kind of talk to our hotels. This is kind of a little bit about the individual hotels or the management companies, where we actually talk about the embedded amenities. So a simple way to put this is, if you went to a McDonald's right now, you know that you have the ability to get a Happy Meal. That's what we want to do with these hotels, that every single hotel that is selling something, we want it to be embedded in part of their hotel, where Hilton, for instance, sells individual Hiltons to a person who might want to have a franchise. We want those franchisees to understand that every time you purchase a Hilton, well, you actually purchase Clean the World. Much like if a person buys a McDonald's, well, a Happy Meal is going to come with it. You can kind of create your own spin to it, but we want to make sure that every single hotel, when that thing is purchased by a company, that Clean the World, our program, our hotel partnership program, is going to come in and going to be embedded in your purchase. So again, a lot of sales experience, a lot of marketing material, a lot of impact to make sure that we're driving our business. A very business-oriented business that we have here. A customer portal. another one of our services to make it easier for the hotels to engage with us. This is something actually I worked on with our IT guys to actually put an app together. We actually have an app for all the hotels that partner with us that literally can just simply push buttons to make sure that we pick up their soap, and then make sure that we can get then stuff in marketing material delivered to them just at a touch of a button. Really, really interesting stuff. Now, here's something that I wanted to talk about, and I'll kind of wrap this up as well, getting close to the end. But these are called hygiene kits. So another way to partner with Clean the World is we recognize in these hotels, there's conventions, there's big events all over the country that partner with hotels to come in and do events. A Build-A-Bear, a Build-A-Bike, canned food drive, a soap drive, a clothing drive. Things of that nature are something that the companies like to do, and they like to get together to do team building experiences for their companies. What Clean the World created about 2 years into the business, we said, well, if we're getting all the soap donated to us, we're getting shampoo, conditioner, lotion donated to us, we also get toothbrushes and toothpaste, obviously, new, of course, donated to us. Eye masks, we get donated to us. We actually have a partnership with a lot of airlines. Well, they'll actually donate to us anything that is in first class that has not been used. So an eye mask, a moist towelette, again, toothbrush, toothpaste, earbuds, things of that nature. Well, why can't we create hygiene kits that are specifically designed to be donated back to charities? Well, then people can get together and have a team building experience and almost have a packing party where they can then donate back to the charity of their choice. And so for us, all of these companies that you see have partnered with us in this in some way, somehow, among others. I actually engage with colleges and universities, a big reason why I'm speaking with you today, on doing these events all over the country, where if you have a big event where 500 people or 100 people, maybe for Greek or sorority life or whatever it might be, a classroom are getting together and you want to donate back to a charity of their choice, we say engage with us. We'll send you these materials for a price, where then you can put these, these hygiene kits together, and then we can actually hook you up with a charity of your choice to donate back to. Really, really cool stuff. And this is kind of, bottom line stuff that we deliver back to our partners, impactful programming notes. Again, you'll see this word, and I know I'm kind of jumping over the place, but CSR. When you see that word, that's something that we obviously have to, really respond to in this day and age. So it's called corporate service responsibility. That's something that is big, that's being taught in colleges now. People actually are getting jobs of being the corporate service responsibility manager within these companies. These are the people that we engage with that want to do these give backs with us. Their job is to make sure their company looks great, but also obviously not just looks great, but they actually want to do great work where they recognize that their company's value and their stock is going up because of how much they're now donating back and what they're doing for their local communities. So why not partner with Clean the World, have an event, pick a hygiene kit that is going to be custom designed for a particular charity that we want to donate back to, where we're donating back to Clean the World, but we're also donating back to the charity. So that CSR word is very impactful there. And again, this is who has covered us. So you say of all these places, look, we've been on CNN and Fox News and People and Time Magazine and San Francisco Chronicle and National Geographic. I mean, again, I always go back, and as I talk about it, I'm very amazed that we started in the garage. And of all the interviews that we've had in Forbes and all these great places, we're just now getting out there. But people pick us up. They like what we do. They're intrigued in what we do, and we're always willing to talk about it and speak about our mission. Here we are. Clean the World, 80 employees across 5 offices. Had a great January and March 20. And then again, what happens with March 20, right? All of a sudden, boom, right? Coronavirus hits. And so this is actually how we've adopted this. So when I talk about hotels right now, and this is kind of how we'll end on this note, where hotels, a lot of people are not traveling. We recognize this. We recognize that our partnerships are strong. But unfortunately, because our partners are not having the business that they're used to, we're not getting as much soap as we're used to. Therefore, we're not collecting as much incoming donations as we're used to. So how do we pivot? What do we do with this? Well, what we've done is we've recognized that everyone is really working from home. So those businesses that would then create these hygiene kit builds to then donate back to charities, they can't get together anymore. They can't have team building experiences. So what we've done is we actually created the Soap Saves Lives box. Now, we get plenty of soap from all over around the world, so we have plenty of soap to go around. Actually, Dove and Unilever are big sponsors of ours too, and partners, where the excess Dove soap and the excess Unilever soap comes to us as well. So we have plenty of soap to go around, but we recognize that businesses do want to do a give back program. They just can't do it in person. So we've actually created individual boxes. For instance, we just did a build with Nike. Nike had 500 employees in the Northwest that actually built hygiene kits individually at their homes. And then each box, as you see there, that's my friend Amy there, as you see Amy hold that box, each one of those boxes then went back to a charity that the individual selected. So we had 500 different charities getting these Soap Save Lives boxes that had about 150 hygiene kits in them each. We actually paid for the shipping and the handling both to and from the individual's house. So you have to pivot. You have to find creative ways to adapt. And I'm very proud of our company that we're able to do this and kind of manage this until the coronavirus or it subsides. And this is kind of how we've done it. What I just kind of explained is kind of the process of what we just did. Again, somebody has to make this, right? I mean, we have 80 employees. So when you start this business, graphic design work, marketing materials, you're going to have to get these people involved in your business to kind of take it from the garage, as we say, to how we are globally now. And then again, that's actually pictures for the last 6 months of people that have been taking pictures in their homes all across the country of what our boxes look like. And if you can see, and I guess I'll talk about hygiene kits a little bit. Our hygiene kits are super, super special. And I'll say kind of to engage, well, let me go back here because I want to show you at the bottom left, we have 5 different types of hygiene kits. And this is kind of my specialty because, again, when I share with you my age, 6 to 8 years old, I received hygiene kits from companies, and I didn't know the hygiene kits I was receiving from companies then. I just knew that I was getting soap, I was getting shampoo, I was getting a toothbrush and toothpaste. If you've heard of probably the government assistance you've probably heard of the most is food stamps or WIC, Women and Infant Care. There's these programs that help people get through. They do not cover hygiene products. So a lot of people, to get free food and to save money, they actually sometimes gloss over the soap or the comb or the toothbrush. Well, those are the things that you need probably the most to then present yourself, to get the job, to get yourself back on your feet. So we have so many companies that partner with us and send us body wash, shampoo, conditioner, lotion. Obviously, we recycle the soap, but you can see a young man packing socks there. Bombay helps us out. Again, with those airlines, think about what I said. When the airlines give us eye masks and earbuds, if you were to have to stay in a shelter, the lights never go out. You know, I get kind of emotional when I speak about this, but the lights never go out. Those eye masks in these hygiene kits, they mean the world to people that are trying to get sleep. Earbuds. If there's 100 other people in a shelter, those earbuds can mean the world of difference to get a good night's sleep. So we have different hygiene kit products. We have a standard kit. We have a women's kit that has feminine hygiene products in them that are donated to us. We have a children's kit. Disney actually donates crayons and a coloring book that we can put in the kits for the kids. We have a veterans kit. A lot of veterans do not like to stay in shelters, so they kind of go off the grid, is what we like to say. So we have sometimes a sunblock or chapstick that are in there for them. And then we actually have a disaster relief kit that is specifically designed, the materials that go in there for, again, emergency relief in a hurricane or earthquake or fire, what have you. So really impactful stuff. Again, that's how a lot of people engage with Clean the World. And I'll kind of answer some of those questions where you can volunteer. If you're a hotel, you can partner with us. You can help be a distributor. You can also help, obviously, procure hygiene kit products and then donate back to the charity of your choice with your business or school or church group or what have you. Really cool stuff. So that's it for me as far as that. I try to not take too much of your time, but again, I'm very long-winded, but hopefully that made sense, and I'm here to answer any questions right now that you have for me.
Thank you, Rob. We appreciate your presentation. It was super impactful and it's given all of us a lot to think about your work. So what I'd like to do now is respect people's time. So if they do need to log out, we have this recorded and we'll post it on our website tomorrow. But for those that can continue to stay with us, we'll have a Q&A for 10 to 15 minutes. Again, as I mentioned, if you'll please raise your hand, Rob will be able to call on you. So I will open it up to our students.
Kelly, we have a request to share Rob's contact information.
Oh, please. Yes, please
so
do.
If you can maybe list it, Kelly, there, or post it on our website, that would be great.
Well, what Rob can do right now is just post it in the conversation box, but we'll also be happy to add it when we post the video on our website.
Rob, one more thing. One of our faculty, Brooke, mentioned that as part of her sustainable tourism class, she has taken students to volunteer at your operation. So.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you. So do we have any student questions, please?
And if not, I can obviously just kind of answer anything. That I know me and Kelly had some questions that we can discuss if there are no hands that are raised. So, oh, I have Nicole. See Nicole. Okay, gotcha.
Yes. Well, basically, I just was part of this pitch for the Student Innovation Incubator, and I was selected. And it's funny because the idea that I came up with, I think it would suit really well. That's why I wanted your contact information. It's kind of like along those lines. So
well, yes, and then look, and for my contact information, don't hesitate. Anybody can reach out. I just put my email there for anybody that wanted to reach out. And then again, I can always get you, if it's not me to answer your questions, I'm pretty sure I could through email, but I can always get you to the right facet of our business. We have so much going on, and I try to contain it in a short way, but I also recommend you go to cleantheworld.org as well. Here, I'll post that as well. So just take a look at our website because we have so many programs and so many ways to engage and interact with us.
Perfect. That's exactly what I wanted.
Yeah, so I'll just put the, let's see the website here. Okay. Well, Rob, Kelly, do you want to ask one of those questions?
Rob, actually, I had a question.
Oh, okay. Yes, sir.
This is George. The operations you have around the world, are they franchises of the central operation in Orlando?
Great question. Great question. So they're not as of yet, but that is actually something that we're working on. So that, George, that's an amazing question. So right now what we're doing is we're calling it basically our partnership platform. And for what we're currently working on is, again, think about this. If we were to then start Clean the World's business in a developing country, we actually will be taking maybe opportunity away from people that could possibly be already doing this. There are amazing people that are working in developing countries right now that are trying to do the same exact thing that we are doing. So instead of us going in there, what we're trying to do is teach them a more efficient way to do it so we can actually partner with them, not take away anything from their business, but add to their business. You'll have a lot of times it's women in these developing countries that are the ones that are doing this great, amazing work with soap. They're the ones that are the teaching the children how to wash their hands. They're the ones that are teaching the communities how to stay safe. And if they're already trying to start this process, we're trying to create this opportunity for them to kind of learn about our business so then they can franchise this. And that's what goes into our micro lending program, something I wasn't able to get into. But again, we have, for those who know, what micro lending is, we definitely want to make sure that we are empowering people all across this world, literally through a monetary amount of money to then help them start these programs in their own communities if we can't directly get to them. So amazing work.
That's good. Yes, because micro lending was my next question, but you answered it.
Yes. And that's so what we do, and some of these partnerships. So when people ask as well, how do we get the soap from point A to point B? We literally work with who are the boots on the ground. Okay, we talked about the UN, but it's the Red Cross, it's the Salvation Army, it's World Vision. There's so many what they call NGOs, these non-government organizations that we work with that call us that say, hey, we need this amount of soap. Well, what then they do is they deliver the soap for us once it gets onto the ground. And then our foundation, again, so we have this venture side that's creating this opportunity monetarily. We then have a foundation side that is literally in these communities in Indonesia, in Tanzania, in Afghanistan, in Africa, Somalia, anywhere you can possibly imagine, the Philippines, that are literally taking these stats and these figures about what is a bar of soap doing for these communities when it's introduced. And they're taking all these stats and these figures, they're teaching these women and these teachers how to teach these children how to wash their hands properly. And it's just amazing. On top of then saying, here's whatever it might be, $1,000, so we can help you start your business so you can replicate this on your own time. It's just, it's great work that we do.
Great, thank you.
Obviously, you can tell that I'm super passionate about this, and I love this, and I think too. And again, for young people, we always hear about the food, right? The food is obviously enormously important, but the hygiene, especially now, and with the coronavirus and COVID-19, what hygiene is doing right now, proper hygiene, properly washing your hands, but the introduction of these materials to people all across the world, it's really saving lives, and it's a big part of life.
Rob, may I ask you, as far as our student engagement, you mentioned you do have some university programs. Could you just take a moment and share with our students what the opportunities are, please?
Absolutely. So again, when I speak on my family, my mother at the time that we were going through, rough patch in our life, she was a teacher's aide for children with disabilities. She is now just recently retired as a professor of George Washington University. So, full circle for me to see the impact that she's had on children's lives, and being an educator is just something that's near and dear to my heart. So yes, I'm a football coach, and I like to say that I teach football. That's what I do, but I teach about hygiene and I teach about nonprofit and sustainability. So we actually created about 2 years ago, Clean the World, a program to interact with colleges and universities all across the country. We have about 25 colleges that we're interacting with now. We created the SEEP program. So it's SEEP. It's the Social Entrepreneurship Experiential Program. And really what we did was we worked with a curriculum designer from the University of South Carolina on an online module that teaches students how to create their own nonprofit. And basically what it does is you would pick a mission and a vision and a charity of your choice at the beginning of the semester. And by the end of semester, everything I just talked about, you would actually engage with businesses to learn how to sell, to learn how to speak on your mission, to learn how to engage with businesses to create a hygiene kit build that you would then donate back to the charity of your choice. And it's something I just firmly believe in. Something I think another question that we were kind of segue into that Kelly was going to ask and we discussed of what are the kind of responsibilities or maybe the characteristics that work in this business or that you can take that I've learned and been able to develop. It's all about relationships, and it's really all about selling. What I just did to you today right now is I'm just selling. I'm selling Clean the World because I really believe in it. And I feel there's a lot of colleges or young people, I would say college students, that sometimes come out of college and they have great education, great knowledge, obviously professors, pouring into them all across the country, but sometimes they don't know how to sell. They don't know how to engage. They don't know how to sell themselves. They don't know how to interact with a business, how to take a product from point A to point B and really deliver messaging, a mission, a vision, really point A to point Z of how to follow this product. But that's what we teach. And we teach how to do it from a nonprofit side and from a beneficiary corporation side. You learn about the legal, you learn about logistics, you learn about team building experiences. And because it's online, we've had a lot of success with this that teachers have been able to implement it into their already prior curriculum because it can just be maybe a 15% of their grade that they're able to do it from home even in times of COVID and coronavirus if there's not obviously in-person classes. So that's what we're doing with colleges. And then again, if your group, if your class just by themselves or your Greek life or sorority or club want to do a hygiene kit build, we can engage that way as well. So there's a number of things that we can do. And just again, if it's volunteering, once we are able to open back up, we work remotely, except unless you're logistically back in the warehouse. We want to make sure we're following the protocol for COVID, but you can eventually come down and you can volunteer. And we have volunteer groups. Really, we have about 15,000 people that volunteer every single every single year at Clean the World in Orlando, and I think another 10,000 that volunteer in Las Vegas. It's really an amazing process when you see all these people from all across the country bus in, to come in to clean the world, and we have a number of time slots that big groups can volunteer. So tons of ways. Please contact me. Please use my email, and I can help you in any way possible, or just learn about our business and point you in the right direction. Oh, Kelly, I think you're on mute there. Oh, okay.
Rob, in our chat session from Dr. Brooke Hansen, she mentions that there are opportunities for our Patel College students to intern with Clean the World as well.
Yes, absolutely, and that's that, and 100%. So I can again point you in the right direction and get you with the right people with our human resources. But we're always looking for interns. And I'll say this as well too. I mean, if you say there's 80 employees, probably 20 of them were former interns. And there's a way to go about it, right? Whether it's just for college credit, or if this is a life that you want to live. I think one thing you probably learned here today, I would probably say, because I did it as well when I first started. I think when you think nonprofit, you think a lot of tie-dye and maybe Birkenstocks, and you think it's you don't really have this business sense. But a lot of nonprofits that are very, very impactful have that business acumen. We have sales, we have marketing, we have accounting, human resources, logistics, warehouse, global partnerships. You definitely learn a lot when you intern with Clean the World, and at the same time, you're helping so many people as well.
Kelly, there is a question also from Brooke. Rob, she's asking if you are also working on single-use plastic source reduction.
Great question. That's a great, absolutely. So now this is really interesting. So what a lot of things are happening in, you would say, quote unquote, the industry, is how do we recycle plastics? How do we recycle single-use soap? And also too, something that we're trying to get people to go against, and this is kind of our push for these hotels. A lot of hotels are actually going to, and maybe you've seen it as well, the squirt bottles, just the body wash. Well, how can we recycle that? We can't recycle that. And we're trying to advocate for hotels to go away from these single bar uses of soap. But if I'm answering the question correctly, we definitely do recycle any type of bar of soap, no matter what it is, no matter if it's fragrant, no matter who makes it, no matter where it comes from. Anytime there's a bar of soap, we have the ability to recycle that.
Any other questions? Any questions from students?
Oh, I have one from Drew there.
Go ahead.
Hi, I noticed that you said you have a operation in mainland China.
Yes.
And how long did it take you guys to have to get the business set up or be approved to have your operations there, since it's a really hard market to get into in general?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So, as answering as best I possibly can without going into like too much crazy detail, Terry Riddle, who was on that banner that I mentioned earlier, is just an amazing person. He's actually worked for many global corporations that have worked in China. He's actually married to like the third in charge of Disney, which always comes in handy, especially when we have somebody so close to our organization that's in Disney. But Terry actually worked for many companies that were based out of China. A lot of shipping, a lot of distribution, a lot of logistics. So what eventually happened, long story short, is our CEO recognized that we wanted to have a place at the table in China, because we realized, hey, it's a global community. China's huge. It's a huge market, and we needed to be in China, especially with how, I guess you would say, the foresight that they have when it comes to their recycling, when it comes to this kind of endeavor. We actually partnered with Terry and got him on board. And a lot of that too is any kind of business where there's a merger, or you have somebody that is very, very well connected to a program or to a country that we want to actually take part in. Well, hey, you make that person a good offer to get that person on board on your team, and then that person is able to connect us with the right people. So really, that's as simple as it was, just using the connections from Terry. And he's been the one that's been the driving force for us in Amsterdam, in Punta Cana, the Dominican Republic. Really outside our global partnerships has been all based on him, based on his 30-year work of his former career all around the world. Almost, I mean, a great way to look at that, Drew, is almost like an acquisition would be a great way to look at it. We got a person on board with us that could open a lot of doors for us.
Sure. Thank you.
Kelly, do we have any other questions? Or I think we are at the end of the hour, right?
Yes, we are at the end of the hour. Again, we want to thank you, Rob, for your outstanding presentation. This has been wonderful, and we're looking forward to future collaborations with you since you're right next door in Orlando. Thank you, Dr. Filipides, for moderating our session, and thank you to all our students for participating. We'll have our last guest speaker in 2 weeks, so we look forward to seeing you all then again. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you very much, Rob, and very nice meeting you.
Yeah, thank you. Great to meet everyone. Thank you so much for having me on. And if anybody needs anything, please don't hesitate to email me, and I'll answer any questions I can.
Thank you, Rob. Have a good day.
Okay, thank you all.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Kelly.